I don't think unreasonably that it's probably female patients who have been to see a male practitioner somewhere else. And I'm going to say that the questions have perhaps been, or the comments have been of a sexual nature or a suggestive nature, not explicitly, but they felt uncomfortable about it.
Yes.
Which is perfectly reasonable if they're in their underwear being treated by somebody who's making whatever comment. Yes, they're able to do something about it. They went to another practitioner and they mentioned it. And they could have looked it up or whatever. Is it no longer a safeguarding issue then?
It's a concern. To me, it's a concern because I think that there's several things I'm supposed to consider. I mean, there's professional issues to consider because this person, if that's the case, and they are still treating female patients, for example, then there is that professional duty as an individual to be able to raise concerns if that's what is
this is a knotty problem because
it is.
Let's say, again, I'm inferring from what Tash said that it's more than one person who's come to her and said this. She said there's a recurring theme, and I'm assuming, let's say, it's the same practitioner that they're complaining about or commenting about. Tash has the option to refer that practitioner herself, or to make a complaint about that practitioner herself to the governing body, and she can do it anonymously.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
That can go nowhere unless the patients who've made the complaints or raised the observations, unless they are on board with this, because then without it they can't get the notes or anything.
Yes. I mean, it's if the patients are that's significantly concerned, and there's more than one of them. To me, that's very concerning about that practice.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So to me, it raises an even bigger issue around who else is that person treating, and who else are they treating that isn't able to protect themselves or actually do that. So I mean, from my experience, I can only go with experience. When I've had similar issues, I've had enough grounds to actually, inform the police from a professional perspective to say, actually, we've had, concerns raised by a series of individuals, and the police have actually got involved and taken over.
Again, I don't know that this is the case, but let's say there are two women who've made comments to their new practitioner, Tash, about another practitioner, and Tash has said, look, this really isn't good. This is what would be called unacceptable professional conduct by our governing bodies. I think I need to alert the authorities, whether that's the General Council or whether it's the police, to this. And both women say, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be involved in that for whatever reason. There's nothing you can do, is there? Because without their evidence...
Under public interest, obviously, you've got, because obviously if this person's in a position of trust...
But how can the police or the governing bodies do any investigation if they're not allowed to know the identity of the only two people who've made a complaint? There's nothing they can look at. They can't say, I want to see all your records, and there won't be anything in the records, will there?
I mean, I've had similar experiences, actually, where those sort of concerns have been raised, and the person has said, there is no way that I would like, my name to be given to that. I still referred it to the police and sought the guidance on it. And because I do agree, without someone actually actively saying... or willing to take part in the investigation, it can be very tricky. But bearing in mind there is a public interest issue here to consider, because this person is actively still working and they are going to be still treating people. And if there is one person, more than one person, that to me is something that would need to be
Christina
explored.
Ann has sent in a comment saying, ask the patient if they want you to do anything about it for them. And of course that is the first thing would be to say, either you should make a complaint or do you want me to do it. But if they say no, you still have that wider concern that this is a behaviour pattern that could be going on with other patients who are more vulnerable. And Tash says she has spoken to the General Chiropractic Council, who weren't helpful. Difficult for the patient to prove without recording, videoing their treatment. Comments are suggestive of a sexual nature, so my inference wasn't unreasonable. But I was about to say, probably the best recourse is to phone the General Council and say, this has happened. I don't know the validity of the complaints, but obviously I'm concerned, and then record that in the patient notes, because what you don't want is to find that the patient later maybe goes to another practitioner and does make a complaint and say, well, I told Tash and she did nothing about it, because that would be unacceptable professional conduct on her part.